from the get-go. If you'd like to, when you're supine lying on your back, as we start the class, you can just support your head. A chair, and I've got like a old school Pilates ball, but if you don't have one, a small cushion or a folded up blanket like so should do the trick. So take your time and make your way over there. We're gonna start slow. So if you recall in Yoga for Balance and Bones last week, we did a standing breath work where we opened our arms, extended our chest muscles here, keeping our spine neutral, and then we hugged ourselves on the exhalation. And we tried to sync up the movement of opening your arms into a T with the breath. As you hugged yourself, maybe it was an exhalation, felt natural to you. So first off, start lying on your back. Support yourself in any way that you choose that supports your spine and all its beautiful neutral curves. And feet are going to be flat for this team, but I want you to ensure that you can actually feel the tripod of your feet. So notice before we begin moving our body, notice where the weight is in your feet, inner outer edges, front and back. Maybe your palms are open to the sky, so your arms are about a 45-degree angle away from your body, open to the sky. And just take a couple of breaths here. And although we are supine and lying down, it may be hard to notice the lengthening of the spine on your inhalation. Let's see if you can kind of lift up through the base of the skull, create some space in your neck. Try to create some space between your rib cage and your pelvis on every inhalation. And then as you exhale, feel the four corners of your trunk, left, right hip, left, right shoulder, and then the base of the skull. Get a little heavier. And I'm not going to ask you to change your breath at this point. I just want you to notice your breath. This often is the gateway to a mindfulness practice. It's one of many ways. So don't be upset or unkind to yourself if it doesn't resonate. That following, that noticing of your inhale and exhale, just maybe notice the agitation if that's what it causes. And get curious. So simply following the inhale and the exhale, that would be your inhale and your exhale. And then slowly slide your arms, and I will sit up, you're lying down. Slowly slide your arms left to right, east to west, so that the joints are stacked horizontally, shoulder, elbow, wrist. So feel that openness in the chest. Feel the neutral spine, and you're gonna take a big full breath in through your nose here. And as you exhale, cross your right arm over your left and give yourself a hug. Without pressing your low back into the ground, without getting heavier between the rib cage and the pelvis. Inhale, open your arms again. Let them rest on the ground. And as you exhale, left arm over right. And continue with this in your own pace. Inhaling, opening the arms wide. Spine stays as it is. Exhale, hug. And one more time like this, inhale. Giving yourself a nice warm embrace. Holding that embrace just for an extra beat as you continue to inhale and exhale here, feeling the shoulders maybe slightly lifted, But continue on pressing the base of your skull down, feeling the ribs heavy. Keep the arms hugging your body for now. Maybe hug yourself. Give yourself a little squeeze with your fingers. And then slowly from here, you can release your arms. If your eyes were closed, open your eyes and grab what you're using for a yoga strap. Hello, Dana, welcome.
Hello.
Just unmute yourself for me, Dana, if you don't mind. And from this supine position, you're simply gonna hug your right knee in towards your chest, trying to keep your tailbone anchored. So we're really focusing on not changing or shifting the placement of the spine in its relationship to the ground. So if you need to reset, you put that foot on the ground and then bring it back in and notice if anything has changed in your back body. And then grab that strap and see if you can kind of lasso it, if you will, around the arch of your foot. So halfway between your toes and halfway between your heel. And then slowly we're going to extend the back of our knee so that the sole of your foot is in the general direction of the ceiling. Opposite leg is staying as it is, foot flat on the floor, knee bent. And once again, we're bringing our mind's eye to our back body, which we don't often think of. But here, it's really imperative as we explore bringing that leg closer to our abdomen, if anything changes in the back body. So I noticed right here at this spot for me, I started to lose my low back curve. It started to get heavy. So I'm going to return back to where I can maintain my neutral spine, and you'll do the same thing. And then spread all 5 toes, reaching the 3 points of your foot, so that tripod up towards the sky, maybe even releasing your elbows down, keeping your chest nice and open. So your arms are relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed. And so this right here is a passive stretch, right? So you're using your arms to find that stretch. The knee is 100% straight. But there's no shaking, there's no nervous system saying this is too much. If it is, you're gonna back off a little bit more, moving that thigh away from the abdomen. And so again, passive because we're using another tool. In this case, it's gonna be our strap or our housecoat rope belt to hold that leg in place. And then try to keep it there, but take your strap and just take it off. And see the work that's involved now in actively holding your leg up in this range of motion. Notice if your spine has changed, if you've twisted your hip a little to your left or to the right, and still active in the foot. So the muscles now are working a little bit differently. We'll take another breath. Collarbones are broad. We're not panicking. 3, 2, and 1, and lower that leg that you just stretched down to the ground and give it a shake. So there's 2 different ways of stretching, and I've talked about it probably ad nauseum at this point. There's a way where we're using and tugging and pulling, which is not bad, but we have to be cautious. Slide that foot back and place it back on the ground so your right foot is back on the ground, and hug your left knee in towards your chest, or if you've done your left, you're going to your right side. And again, reset, put the foot down, check in with the spine, most particularly the space between the low back, right, and the floor. Try to maintain it, hug that knee in again. Yeah. And then see if you can lasso that strap. Sometimes it takes a little bit of cowgirl in us to put that around your foot. Cowgirl, cowboy, cow person. And then send that leg up to the sky. So we're getting those creases in the back of the knee out. Really important, we have a lot of lymph nodes in the back of the knee. So it's really important that we give that leg an opportunity to be straight at certain points of the day. Playing with the position of the leg. How close can you stretch that leg closer to your abdomen before you start to lose those luscious, beautiful curves of the low back, that space between the pelvis and rib cage. Wherever you are in that, even if it's less than 90 degrees or more than 90 degrees or whatever your degrees is, you're gonna let your upper arm bones rest on the floor and spread the sole of your foot towards the sky or in that general direction. Taking a couple deep breaths here. Nice breathe. Try to get that crease out and maybe moving that thigh away from your belly a little bit more. So away, yeah. And see if you can straighten out the back of that knee, reaching for your heel. Yes. Good. Now, wherever you are on that journey of passively stretching your hamstring, release the strap. Notice if the leg bounces away from you. Maybe you used a little bit too much force to hold it up there. And then use the strength of your body, of your own muscles to hold the leg up. So your active range of motion is currently showing here. Caveat being, the opposite leg is bent, so it's going to give you a little bit more space to do this stretch or to do this range of motion exercise. Good, then lower that leg to the ground, give it a shake. Nice job. Place both feet back on the floor. Let's go back to leg number one. So my leg number one was my right leg, which is facing the monitor. Now with my right leg straight, I'm going to take my opposite arm and reach it up overhead in that general direction. It can be on a diagonal. And what you're trying to do, take your right hand to your pelvis, please. And notice what happens when you lift and lower this leg. So lift and lower this leg a few times. The arm can relax right now. We're not going to use it just this second. But lift and lower that right extended leg, extended knee. And notice if there's any movement in through the pelvis as you flex at your hip and as you extend and straighten your hip to the floor. And of course, you know what I'm going to say. We're going to try to find your active range of motion without the pelvis moving. There's your stability component in today's class. Stability through the core, through the trunk. So it's a slow, controlled movement. Shake out that leg. Yeah. And now let's add the arms. Okay. So the opposite arm is reaching up overhead towards the floor beside your left ear. And as you exhale now, you're going to take your left hand to the outside of your right thigh and just kind of place it there. Yeah. And then inhale, reach the arm down, reach the leg down. And then exhale. We're going to do that about 4 or 5 times. Inhale, extend, expand your breath. Reach through your heel, exhale. Notice your low back. You're fighting to maintain its position of being neutral. So it's not getting heavier. So we're controlling the movement. Lots of things happening here, super subtle. One more time for good measure for me, Claudette. Sorry, not Claudette. Giselle, sorry. Good. And then inhale and release. Shake out that leg. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, right? We don't want to leave anybody out. Yeah, your hip flexors are working, I know. So extend your left leg. Extend your right arm. It can be off to the side. It doesn't have to be straight as an arrow. Just let it relax. Same thing. Left leg is at attention. Toes pointed to ceiling. Back of the knee 100% straight for me, Susan. Exhale. Reach that leg up. There's your active range of motion. You're using your own strength, not the arm yet. So let's just first nurture this slowly, step by step. So slowly exhale. Lift that leg up to wherever your range of motion is. It's not going to be the same as mine. It's not going to be the same as Dina or Dana's. We'll go one more time, exploring where we can go without movement becoming evident in our pelvis and in our low back. Once you've established that, then go ahead. Extend your right arm. Exhale. Bring your right pinky finger to the outside of your left thigh, just below the knee, or somewhere in that ballpark area, and then inhale. So again, 4 or 5 times, hand to leg. Yeah. Your opposite hand could be on your pelvis or your tummy. That's it, Heather. Good. Watch for any movement underneath your hand. So maybe your arm has to come further down. Maybe your leg doesn't come up quite as high. Watch that leg in. We're really focusing on straight, straight, straight. And slow that pace down for me, Maureen. It's gonna make it more challenging. Good. Excellent. Good. And just to make it a little bit funner, is that a word? I don't think it is. Grab what you were using for a ball. So maybe it's a yoga block today, maybe it's a ball or another blanket or a cushion, something that's got some weight to it. It could be a box of tissues or a book. So turn over to the side, see what you got. We're gonna go back to our first leg. One more experiment, just 4 times per leg. Whatever object you're holding. I've got the purple ball because I think visually it's probably easy for you to see. And we're gonna do the same thing. This time we're gonna extend the right leg out straight and reach both arms overhead as much as you can. So that means your ball may not touch the floor, or whatever you're holding may not touch the floor. I don't care. Wherever you can reach your arms, that you can keep this area stable. And again, 4 times we're gonna exhale, touch the object, something with some weight to it, to the leg. Inhale, extend the body, make it nice and long. Exhale, stable, neutral spine, tap ball or object to leg 4 times. Remember, this is not about speed because you won't feel the intensity or the challenge. 4 times per leg, and then you can switch it out. Nice job, Susan. Soften your jaw, Heather, nice and relaxed through the face. Let's see a little smile on your face, Dana. Remember, just 4 times per side. So I'm gonna hold you accountable for your own counting. And then take a break, whatever that looks like to you. Bend both knees, move the ball off to the side. You're not gonna need it just yet, or the blanket, or whatever you were using. You can straighten your legs. If your hip flexors are screaming, you can do a bridge. So 4 and 4, and then you're done. And so we're pretty familiar now, so you should be done by now. If you're not, you're probably doing more than 4 per side, which is fine, but maybe save that for later. Okay, so from here now, what I'd like you to do is once again, I have to turn to the side and onto my back. Maintain that neutral curve of your spine. So just, see what that is and float one leg up to tabletop. You're gonna feel, as soon as you do that, you feel how your low belly between your pubic bone and your navel kind of gets firm there. Now try it again. Put the leg down, pick it up. Yeah, so we're trying to maintain that firmness in through the abdominal, and then see if you can lift the other leg up to tabletop. If you cannot, keep one leg on the ground. Okay? And then from here, we're gonna float one heel towards the floor, tap it, exhale, bring it back up. So we're gonna inhale to lower, and exhale to bring it back up. And if that breathing doesn't work, reverse it. But what I essentially want you to do is find a normal breathing pattern that helps to create that stability in through the abdomen to maintain our neutral spine. Right? You find the stability to create the mobility in your hip joint. Muscles are working really strongly here. Again, you can keep one heel to the ground, lower the leg, pick the other one up. I will show both variations. When you need a break, you'll know more quicker than I will. And you'll just put both feet down on the ground. So whatever intensity works for you to support your body today, to keep that neutral spine position. Remember, let the legs go, team, and just straighten out the legs for a moment. If you're not connecting with what your neutral spine is, you can get that dish towel, take a moment, roll the dish towel really tiny, and create that support underneath the low back between the rib cage and the pelvis. And that will be your frame of reference, right? Just like at the beginning when we had that demo video of best practices to support you in your neutral spine in class. It goes without saying that's available to you all the time. All right, so now grab whatever I asked of you. You remember I said either a ball or a small pillow, small little rolled up blanket. No pets, please. And you're going to take that object, so it's a little unsteady, it's this little squishy. You're going to pick up your pelvis and place it underneath your pelvis. So we know by now that our pelvis is not our back. They're two distinct areas of our body. And I'm going to have a look. So you can stay there for a moment. I want to have a look. So a cushion, something unstable, squishy blankie. Just be careful, Heather. I feel like it's maybe supporting your low back a little bit. Maybe you can push it or fold it up and make it thicker. Yeah, good, good. Now, can you float the legs up one at a time to tabletop position? Again, if you are unable, then you're going to keep one foot on the ground. So we're putting a layer of intensity onto this. Just even staying here, especially if you're using a ball, is going to be a challenge. Maybe a little easier the more stable and the less squishy the object is. So just holding this is stage one, maybe even 1 foot on the ground. Otherwise, begin heel tapping, exhale. So stability is the name of the class today. So we're really reinforcing that. I'm shaking like a leaf currently. So if anyone has a ball, and if you don't have one, let me know. I can give you references. I actually have a whole bunch in my locker, y'all. So if anybody wants one, come get it. Tap a heel. And come back up. And do as many as you can while I just observe you in your natural habitat. Good. Keep those knees bent. You're just tapping your heel down. Yeah. Good. And place both feet down on the ground. Lift your hips up and remove said object, along with whatever is supporting your head. So we're trying to lift our trunk, if you will. So we know our hip bones and our shoulder bones are kind of like the framework of our trunk. It involves our pelvis, our glutes, all the space up in between, all the way up to our neck, right? And we're trying to lift that as a panel, like one big panel. Feet of glass, if you will. Feet are hip width apart. Turn your palms down this time. 45-degree angle away from the body, and gently press down into the ground with your arms, with your shoulders, and press up in one foul swoop. So your hips lift, woo, and your hips come down. So really connect with that foundation and see if you can sense and feel the strength required in the back of your body to lift your hips up. Let's just say 8. That seems like a good number for me today. So your hips go up, ironing out the crease, and down. So it's not a bone fit bridge where our focus is posture. This is a glute bridge, which our focus is glutes and hamstrings. Nice, Deb. Good. Exhale up. Now think of the up contracting the glutes, but also contracting the abdomen. Now, reinforcing stability. So then when we come to our standing work, it'll be a breeze. Let's go one more time. Your bridges look beautiful. Good. Now, both feet on the ground. Go ahead and grab whatever object you have, ball, pillow, folded up towel, or other. And you're going to place it behind your right knee and give it a squeeze. So hold that knee in towards your chest as much as you can, keeping the back framework of your pelvis and your shoulders anchored and weighted evenly. So if we bring that knee in really close, I have no weight in my right hip, right? So we want to make sure that both hips, back of hips, are equally weighted. And then press down into your left foot tripod and see if you can lift up 3 or 4 times. And if you can't, that's okay too, but you're still trying, right? So you're lifting that pane of glass, which is your trunk, your stability center, 4 times up and down, or attempting 4 times. Even the effort is good. Okay? And then when you're done 4 times, you switch legs. Other side. Good. So remember the breath in all of this. Give a squeeze. So if you have that object, make sure it's all bunched up so you can grab onto it. So I'm not using pillows because the only small ones I have are silk and they would slide right out. Up and down. Exhale up. For me, that feels natural. Inhale to lower. And one more time. We've got one more exercise on our back. So take that off, stretch out the legs. Oh. Yeah, and the stretching could be whatever works for you, right? If you want to do the soup to Grandistasen one like we started with, you can do that, or you can let the legs stretch out one or both at a time. Whatever feels good. You know it feels good, and now that feels good. Here we go. Okay. Return to right leg, object behind me. And again, if this doesn't work for you today, just put your foot on the ground. Okay, so right knee in towards chest, neutral spine, hug, hug, hug. And then the opposite leg is at a 90-ish degree. So where is your active range of motion? Nothing is happening with that right leg. It's going to stay glued here or on the ground. You have to choose. I don't live in that body. And 3 or 4 times, we're going to lower that left leg and bring it back up. Woo! Slow, controlled, reach through the heel, lower it. So it's like a bow and arrow now. You're really focusing on pulling that right knee in towards chest as you extend through your left leg. Fully stable core. Good. The lower the leg gets to the ground, the more you're going to have to really fight to contract those abdominals and find that stability. 3 works for me today. I'm going to stop there. Take a moment. Enjoy your breath. And when you feel ready, you're going to take that ball, object, or whatever behind the left knee. Remember, option is left foot on the ground. Forget the object behind the knee, okay? Find your active range of motion with the opposite leg, extended in the general direction of sky. And then you're gonna lower and lift. So the ball is behind my left knee, or my left foot is on the ground, and I'm gonna lower and lift. That's probably the hardest one we've done today, I think. Keep that knee pulled in, Dina. Same with you, Dana. Pull it in as you lower. There's that bow and arrow effect, right? One's extending, one's pulling in tight and contracting. Yes, Heather. Good. And you disappeared on me. I just see your lovely sofa. Okay, come out of that. Straighten the legs. Have a nice little breaky poo. Have a sip of water if you wish as you transition to 4-point meal, which could also look like hands on the seat of a chair or forearms on a counter. Okay. So my hope is at this point you're starting to recognize what your neutral spine is because of the thanks and the strength of your stability system, your trunk, if you will. And then we're going to support our knees if that feels good, or if you're going to support your wrist creases if that feels good too. Hi, Nancy. Welcome, welcome. Don't get rid of that object because we will use it again. Sorry. And in a 4-point kneel position, remember, you can have your hands on your chair or your hands on a bolster on a chair or on a counter, whatever works best for you. Extend your right leg back behind you. Toes are on the ground. I'll be keeping an eye on your head, Maureen. You know what, Maureen? I honestly think sometimes it's your hair. You have so much hair. All right, push into your hands equally and evenly. Lift your leg up so that it's roughly in line with your hip or slightly below. Okay, so you have to squeeze your tush to keep your leg up there, right? You also have to contract those abdominals, otherwise you're gonna lean to your left. We don't wanna do that. And all you're gonna do is bring your heel in towards your seat and then stretch that leg away. So the only thing that's happening here is I'm bending my knee, but I'm really focusing on not dumping into my low back, right? So that requires contraction of those abdominals, contraction of the glutes. Good. In and extend that knee down. Good. Good. Heel to seat, Giselle. Try not to lower your knee as you do that. So imagine your knee is on a shelf currently, and it can't go down as you bring your heel into your bum. Good. Extend. Good. Control is the name of the game here. Let's do one more down. Let's see, Susan. Good, Dina. Good. And lower. You can shake out your hands or your wrists if you like. And then come back into it. Yeah, you can do a nice extended child's pose. Good choice, Heather. And then we can do the other side together. We get to do the other side together. All right. Do it again. Wrists under shoulders. Strong support for that glass table, which is our trunk. Contracting the abdominals, extending the left leg back behind us. Good. Keep your toes on the ground to start and really reach through your heels so the back of your knee is open for me in. And then lift your legs from your seat, right? From your seat, not from your heel. Good. And again, knee is on a shelf, heel to seat. And extend the knee. So it's flexing the knee, extending the knee. Yeah. Good. Gorgeous, Dad. Nice, Giselle. Now really focus on, imagine my hands are in between your shoulder blades and push up into your shoulder blades a little bit so you're not sinking. It looks like a little sink is going on that shoulder joint. Nice, deep down. Good. Really flex your ankle, Susan. Yes, it's going to get a little bit more activation in the limbs, muscles of the lower body too, and lower. And we're going to do a Heather extended child's pose. So extended child, remember our arms are overhead or in a wide V position. Feeling that length from your hip crease all the way up into your fingertips. Legs are strong, core is strong. Stability is very apparent in this exercise, in this group of exercises before we come into standing postures. Good. Now, even more so, grab that object that we had earlier. This is where silk pillow definitely wouldn't do the trick. And it's behind my knee. Okay? And everything is the same. We're right back where we started. Except now, we have to keep our heel close to our seat. I'm sorry for those hamstrings that are struggling currently. And you're gonna bring your knee in, and you're gonna bring your knee back, all without including the work of your spine. Hence, your stability needs to be present. So I'm gonna come watch that. And what would happen if I use my spine is I'd bring my nose, and then I'd extend my spine kind of like a cat-cow. We're refraining from doing that today. So 3 or 4 times, because I know it's gonna be crampy. Gorgeous, Deb. Nice, Giselle. Good. And then switch sides. Yep. Heather's got a yoga block. She's really challenging herself today. But it'll do the trick, right? You just want something to hug. You can envision my head is there and you're just squishing the like button at me for making you do this today. Good. 3 or 4 times. Ooh, hello, hamstrings. So nice to meet you today. Push into the ground, stay broad through your upper back. Don't let your chest sink. Shoulder blades are not squeezing together here. Good. And then lower, you can move that object out of the way. If it's a ball, make sure it doesn't roll. And then you're just going to take one foot forward. I'm going to take my left foot forward. So we all know this low lunge position from yoga. Yeah, we did a lot of that over the last few weeks. But what I'd love for you to do is shimmy. Keep your hips facing forward. So if you want to find your hip bones for me, Dana. And there, yeah. And then start shimmying your foot. You see, I'm just heel toe out to the side. Good, so that's our inner thigh that we're trying to get a little bit more active, passive and active put together. I want you to lunge forward, knee over toe, and come back. Just a few times, just trying to open up the hips in this different plane of motion here. Good, exhale. Inhale, push into your tripod. So it doesn't matter where you are on this scale, right? Trying to find this angle. As long as you're not in that forward plane of motion, right? Frontal plane of motion, we're just going off to the side. Oh, clothes are coming off. It's getting warm in there in New Jersey. Good. Switch sides. Susan's in New Jersey right now, so I hope that's okay with Sam. We won't come and find you, don't worry. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, till you find your end range of motion. We're not forcing anything. Good. And then lean into that. Nancy, this one's for you. Good. Again, lunge forward, inner thigh, hips are facing forward 3 or 4 times. Boy, who knew it was so tight there, huh? So remember, these muscles connect into our pelvic floor, so it's a nice way to help open things up or have that sensation of opening things up and creating some space. Good. And then come on out of that and come to stand. So you can move your props out of the way so there are no tripping hazards. Be mindful, step and turn, place 4 legs on your yoga mat. Now here's the thing where it gets a little tricky, where you might need to do a quick measure, okay, before we come into our standing poses. Working on Parsvottanasana in our standing posture. So find that shelf, right? And you're going to hinge your hips back and see if your hands comfortably fit on the seat of the chair. If they do not, you can place yoga blocks. If you have a yoga bolster, if you want to double up some blankets, I don't really care. But what I do care is that you maintain that integrity in your spine for the sake of this exercise. Okay, now step your right foot forward. So your right knee is touching the seat of the chair for me now. And step your left leg back. So first and foremost, you can turn your fingers out left to right so that you can kind of grab the chair if it's more comfortable, especially if you have really hard wood and you don't have a blanket handy. And I want you to look down, making sure your wrists and your shoulders are stacked vertically. Yeah, so that there's no diagonal happening, because the support system of your shoulders is not as strong as it could be. Okay, so maybe even Susan, so bring your right knee closer to the bed, Susan. So it's touching the bed all the way. Yes. I know the bed is high, so I would recommend, Susan, coming down onto your forearms on that pillow. Yeah, put your forearms down. Use them as a shelf. Yes, good. Bring your elbows back even further. Now push, 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 like your life depended on it. Push so hard that your right foot maybe comes off the ground a little bit. So if you want to have a look here, we're using the strength and stability of our core and our hip flexors, which are intimately connected, to lift our right foot off the ground. And that may not happen. Come up for 1 second, watch. Okay, so let me do this leg first, so it's closer to the monitor. Okay, my foot is on the ground. Do you see my new pants, everybody? They're gorgeous. Thank you, Dana. You can lift your heel, or you can lift the whole flat of your foot off the ground. This is like deep connection hip flexors, which run right through the abdominals up into the low back. Okay, so go back to your right foot being the lead. Your back foot is on the ground. I have mine on a diagonal, so it's pressing strongly into the ground. And this is where it's really important that your wrists and shoulders are stacked, right? And try it a few times. We lift, we lower, any amount, even just the heel. We lift, we lower, front foot, front heel. Again, we lift, we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your right foot down. Push your right foot into the ground as you straighten your right knee, coming into Parsvottanasana. Do you see how nice and long your spine is here? Supported, supported. Draw the shoulders down your back, away from the ears, creating space between your shoulders and your ears. Take a few breaths here. Keep that right hip pulling back in space so those hips are nice and level. Your spine is lifting up out of the waistline. Good. Bend your front knee. Come on up. So you're going to be facing away from me, but you might want to watch this. I'm going to turn my back foot out and come into a warrior two. So you're probably like, Deb, you're going to face away from me. Giselle, Anne, Dana, Dina. You're going to face away from me. But Maureen, and no, you're good. Heather, you're fine. Just face the other side. Turn your right foot. Yes. And extend your arms. Good. So everyone's in a different position or a different angle. So drop your shoulders away from the ears. You're in warrior two stance. Push into the legs. Lift up out of the waistline. Extend through the fingertips. Good. So the weight is equal in the legs and the core is working here to support your nice tall neutral spine. Look over your front fingertips. Take a few breaths. Strong legs supporting your trunk. Push your right leg straight into the floor. So your front leg is straight now. Yeah. Turn your front palm to face the sky. And let's reverse our warrior into a peaceful warrior position. So reach up through that right side or whatever side of your front arm. Yeah. Good. Lift up out of the waistline. Perfect. Release the arms. Parallel your feet. So even if you're facing the wall behind, you can turn around and face me if you need to. So remember which was your outside leg, because that's the leg that's going to be moving now, okay? So the leg that was furthest away from the chair is going to turn out, keeping your hips facing forward. Yes, and then let's find our tree pose. Foot can be on the inside of your standing leg, or it can be higher up, right? But the work is here. And me and Susan were talking at the beginning of class, right? About imagining we have like this corset around just the rib cage. And there's a bunch of helium balloons, right? And they're lifting you out of your waistline. So that'll help to engage the core, floating those arms up. And then maybe reaching them out to the side. Good, beautiful, Maureen. 3, 2, 1. Still with the leg that is furthest away from the chair, lower it and come out into a wide stance. Perfect. Turn your toes out to like 11 and 2 or 1 and 10. Bend your knees, find your goddess pose. You're going to stay where you are. Your spine is going to continue to lift up out of the waistline, shoulders over hips as your arms reach out. Let's do this again right from the start. We're going to give ourselves a hug, one arm on top of the other. Remember which arm is on top. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Push those thighs back. Exhale, give yourself a hug. See if you can stay here. Bring the back of your hands together. Maybe lift your elbows up from your chest. And try to squeeze your forearms together for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the arms, straighten the legs, heel toe your feet together. Pause, you have the other side. Oh, I'm out of breath. So I'm going to turn my chair around only because I do not want my back to face you, but you continue facing the same way. Here we go. Find your hip hinge. Hands to the seat of the chair. Wrists underneath shoulders, actively pushing forward. Sue, come forward. Suzanne, so your shoulders are right over your elbows. Now push down into your bolster. Keep your left knee against the chair. Step your right foot back. Your right foot is turned out to like about 1 o'clock. Whole sole of the foot on the ground, that's it. Now I found that I kind of shifted my shoulders back, so I'm gonna step forward with my back foot a little bit more. Yeah, you're good, Dana. Good, so remember our goal 3 or 4 times trying to lift either the heel or the entirety of that front foot off of the ground. With your exhalation, you're pushing, you're controlling this with that stability of your core, lifting and lower. Did you notice one side is harder than the other? Oh, I do too. One more time. Lower that foot to the ground. Push your left leg straight into the ground so that knee is straight. Left leg is straight. Now pull your left hip back in space. So try to draw the left side of your hip a little further back, Dina. That's it. And lengthen your spine out of your hips without twisting the torso. Gorgeous, Dana. Nice, Maureen. It's good, Deb. Both legs are 100% straight for this exercise. We call this Parsvottanasana in yoga. We'll go one more breath. Slightly bend your front knee and come on up. Good, and then just turn. Most of you will be facing me, except Heather. You're gonna face your sofa. So that front leg stays on the chair. You're just turning that back leg out and you're coming into your warrior two. That's it, Deb, you got it. Nice, Giselle. Lift up out of your waistline. Imagine those helium balloons. Extend the arms. Front knee is bent, back leg is straight. Yeah? Look over your front fingertips. So Heather, bring your right toes in a little bit so your heel kicks out and your toes are in. Opposite of that. Yes, even more. Yes, good. Now really push down through that back leg. We tend to favor one leg over the other when our legs are split like this, but our goal is to be strong in both. One more breath. Straighten your front leg. So now both legs are straight. Take your front arm and reach it to the sky. We're not arching back. We're not painting a rainbow. We're just reaching on a high diagonal. That's it, in. Breathing into the left side of the lung, the left side of the waist. Good. And release the arms. Take your hands to your hips. Parallel your feet and heel toe then to be underneath your hips. Again, if you want to turn the chair around, if you need some support or need to go to a wall, the leg that is farthest away from your chair is going to turn out on a diagonal. And right away, I can see me too. My hip went like to the Bahamas. So I want to pull that hip in so I create this vertical line on the whole right side of my body and find my tree posture. You could have a kickstand, you could have a chair. Lift up out of the waistline. Your arms can come out on a high diagonal, or you can keep them in front of your sternum, whatever feels most natural. Find that breath. Ooh, so good, Maureen. Good. Take your hands down. Step your feet wide. Last time. Turn your toes out. Heels are in. Right? So this is kind of like second position in a bar class. And now from here, we're going to lift up out of the waistline, float those arms wide and bend those knees so they track in the direction of your toes. That's your hips now. Okay, nice, Susan, good. Again, inhale here. Exhale, give yourself a hug. Which arm was on top? You're going to switch it out. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Keep those legs strong. Keep your glutes firing. Inhale, last time. Exhale. Good. You can either stay here, lifting up out of the waistline, or bring the back of your hands to touch. The elbows come up a little bit higher. You'll feel that stretch in the back of your shoulders here. Good. And then maybe your palms touch. I don't know. We can try it. Breathe here. Find some ease in the challenge. Feeling the core, helping to lift you up. Find that buoyancy. Woo. Release the arms, straighten the legs. Heel toe your feet. Pause for a moment. That was tough. Let's take a sun salutation to make our way down to the ground, team. So from here, feet are hip width apart. Arms by your side, palms facing open. So your chest is open here. Good. Do you notice that? Yeah. Now turn your palms the other way. Let them rest by your side and kind of, we get tired, so we roll our shoulders back. So lift up out of that waistline. Turn the palms open right away. You can breathe better. Right? Inhale, reach those arms wide and as high up as you can. And as you exhale, push the air down, left to right, east to west. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. And our last time here, inhale, reach up. As you exhale, push those hips back, soft knees, hands to thighs. Looking down at the ground, straighten your elbows. Inhale, head up, look up. Soften elbows and fold. Take one leg behind the other. And lower that knee to the ground. Transition onto your back, please. Hug your knees into your chest. Set yourself up for a mindful moment together before we finish our class. And so I'm going to give you a moment. So if there's anything that you would like to do with your body, I'm going to give you a minute or two. You can hug your knees into your chest. You can stretch your hamstrings, whatever you want. Down dog. Or you can just rest. I'm all for that. Take another 30 or 40 seconds here. And then find your way into some sort of stillness. It can be on your back, on your belly, sitting up, standing. But even if you're lying down, can you find a sense of alertness in your spine? That length in the neck. And so visualizing here, if you will, a very large window before your eyes, even though your eyes are closed. And I want you to think about like the most beautiful scenery you've ever witnessed in your life. It could be anywhere in the world. It could be as close as the garden on your balcony or in your backyard. But think of some place where it was just so pretty you had to stop because it took your breath away. We've all seen it. And whether it's the ocean or the mountains, tropical rainforest, or your wildflower garden, I want you to sit and appreciate that incredible view that you get to look at right now through your mind's eye. And I just want you to take in the beauty of that vista, of that view, through your breath, through your senses. Maybe you can even smell the ocean, the evergreen trees, the leaves in the tropical rainforest. What do you smell? And then, if you're standing in that vista, what does the ground underneath your feet feel like? Is it the soft, wet sand underfoot? Is it the cushion layer of the forest floor? Or the firmness of the rocks on a hilltop? Enjoy the view through your breath. And notice how your body is physically responding to that vista. And sometimes that window seems really, really tiny, and it's so difficult to find that vista in your everyday life for a multitude of reasons. But it's there. And it is our job to find ways to increase your visual span of that window. And that could be through a continuous yoga practice, could be through lifting weights or sitting mindfully in a meditation, taking a walk with a friend or in nature alone. But every time we make those steps to take care of ourselves, we increase that visual span so that that window just grows and grows and grows. And remembering it's always there. And please remember, when that window starts to shrink and it gets so tiny it's hard to see, just pop your hand right back into that basket of skills that you know to be true to help nourish your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your nervous body, your nervous system body. These are skills that you have, only you have. So take that knowledge, that empowerment with you as you move throughout your day, knowing that you have the power not to escape. It's not what this is about. But to be in that window and experience life through that window. It is always there, but we have to practice, team. We have to put ourselves first. There is no other choice. When you're ready, start to deepen your breath. Bring some gentle movement into your fingers and your toes, maybe reaching into the corners of your space and letting the light in, let it pour in. And then once again, give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around yourself. You are strong, you are resilient, you are powerful beyond measure. Keep growing that window. Keep taking care of yourself. And remember, you come first. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I know I will see you again. And let me know if you have any questions after class. I will always be here for you too. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Well, thanks, Diane.